Hey guys, welcome back to the show. It's Dr. Neville Campbell here. I'd like to welcome you back to the podcast. Our goal is to inspire and educate people through the most challenging discussions with the most influential people in our industries of health, wellness, and healthcare. Our guest today is Alim Bolton, a friend of mine, a colleague, an entrepreneur, a business guy, a fitness, a bodybuilder, IFBB pro. This man has so many dimensions, so many different facets. Like an onion, the layers are numerous. But I want to tell you though, his story, the journey is even more mind-blowing. People, join me today as we welcome Alim Bolton.
Thank you so much. Glad to be here, my friend.
Thank you, my guy. So tell me, man, tell the people, who are you? What is this person that Dr. Campbell is talking about? What brought you here, man?
Wow, great question. Who am I? To your point, like many of us, I'm someone with a lot of different layers to who I am, through the journey, through experiences and so forth. Started working when I was about 8 years old, working for a Jewish butcher in Brooklyn, delivering meat because we didn't have a lot of money growing up.
There you go.
Mom was single, the typical cliche statistic, unfortunately. Been working since 8 years old, hard. So that work ethic kind of led me to be more of an entrepreneur in life. Understanding like if I want something, I have to get up and get after it.
Gotcha.
And that led me to, a lot of journeys, some businesses that were very successful, some that weren't as successful, but we had a lot of lessons learned in those opportunities. One was a luxury watch brokerage that a business partner and I owned, where we bought and sold Rolex, Patek Philippe, Audemars, so forth and so on, for many years. And unfortunately got hit with cyber fraud, which was new at the time. This was before the Equifax debacle that happened when they got hit with cyber fraud. So this was all new territory for everybody. And we were fortunate enough at first to bounce back, but we got hit a second time, and we unfortunately couldn't keep the doors open, so we had to pivot and adjust. I got deep into IT, decided to open up my own company, which I currently run, called the PM Group, with a business partner of mine. We specialize in staffing for IT, finance and accounting, as well as healthcare. So it's been a great journey so far. Let's get it.
And one of the most interesting piece that he didn't talk about was the bodybuilding space, right? But you know what? We will get there. We will get there. Because folks, when I tell you that was just the scratch of the surface, because when I met Alim, I said, "Oh, you're an interesting guy. We connected through through having the same coach, the same bodybuilding coach." And I was fortunate to go pro 2024, and he did follow the exact same path and did before I did. So we kind of connected on that. But once we connected and started, spending some time in the gym together, I started saying to myself, this man is way more than what meets the eye. Our conversations are so deep because, like him, I have a family. We're both professionals. We're both public speakers. But there are different challenges that we had to overcome to the place where we are right now. People see the success. They see, where you are right now. And they'll say, oh, my goodness, the glim and the glam and the glit and all that stuff. But like I said before, there is a path. There is a journey. There is a story to be told, because I believe every day the people around you, whether they're your friends, family, whoever, there are everyday heroes right there with you. And heroes in the sense that they were able to navigate some challenges that were seemingly impossible, but they did it. My question is, what made you do that? What was your decision-making process? Does everyone have access to that same decision-making process? And can you unlock that potential that is within you? Alim, here's a question that I have for you as I think about your story. You mentioned briefly that you were, a watch company, and you got hit with cybersecurity. And that's very rampant. That's happening right now. Now there's different levels of fraud, and it's growing higher and higher. But from a business owner standpoint, considering the loss that you guys suffered, and I'm not certain the magnitude of the loss, but facing that and having to close your business down, what was that moment like?
Well, man, it was heart-wrenching. I mean, this is your baby that you've created from scratch. It was an idea that we made materialize, And I remember going to sleep, looking at our bank account, and we were up 400,000 grand in profit. I woke up the next day, we were down $200,000. I didn't even know you could go down $200,000 in a bank account. It was mine. I saw the negative number. I was like, there's got to be something wrong here.
So it was negative 200.
It was negative 200,000.
So it was overdrawn. So not just is it the 400.
Overdrawn. So
It was
the
4 plus the 2
plus
plus
the two.
negative 2.
Right.
Wow.
And I was like, how's that even possible? And we had a third-party vendor company that would process credit cards and so forth. And we did our due diligence with checking addresses, with driver's license, credit cards, making sure that, the names match and everything matched. However, this was a very crafty, interesting group that started. They were located in Asia. The FBI was able to track them down to Thailand. They went through California, up to New York and Boston, and then made their way down. That was kind of the trajectory that they followed. And we got hit. We got hit with several other companies, a lot of companies in the jewelry industry, Brown and Company, Solomon Brothers. I believe the FBI mentioned Christie's got hit as well. They're huge, brokerage. So we all got hit simultaneously. However, the FBI said because it's international, unless it's 10 million per transaction, we can't go after them.
Gotcha.
So we bounced back the first time.
Yeah.
But then there was another wave because how credit cards processed months later. So then we had gotten hit the second wave, and at that point, I mean, we had taken care of everything, everything, paid all our bills. We were straight. My business partner and I didn't take a check for several months while we got back on track, and then we got hit again. Hundreds of thousands, and we were like, "Wait a minute, what is going on here?"
So as I'm thinking about this, Alim, I'm thinking about this critically right now because the question is, and this is what I want to understand in this, daunting situation. And I'm going to get personal if you don't mind here, but you're a professional, you're running a business, you have employees, you have, staff to pay, you have overhead to pay, but you're also a husband. And you have children,
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
You have a wife, you have maybe a home and a mortgage, and you're a solo entrepreneur at this point. The question is, how are you dealing with this? How are you even sleeping at nights? You may have a mortgage to pay, you may have bills to pay, you have a family to care for, employees, you have expenses from a business owner standpoint.
Well, I got to tell you, sleep wasn't even in my vocabulary at that time. When I laid my head down, it was one of the worst times because then I had time to really internalize and process things, and the gravity of everything, which I was holding on my shoulders day in and day out all the time, 24/7, it really manifested itself in my mind. And I was like, wait a second, I can't even get any sleep. So you're talking about during that period of time, to your point, mortgage, car notes, insurance, everything, taking my kids, everything. In the interim, fortunately, I have an amazing wife who she held some stuff down for me, which was great. I truly believe like you've got to pick the most important decision you can make in life is who your partner is going to be, who your spouse is going to be, because if you mess that up, you are going to have more problems than it's worth as you go through your journey. And you need someone who's got your back.
That's a topic in and of itself, y'all. And I can't wait to get into that topic. That is a topic right there. My guy, thank you so much, my dude, because that will be probably one of the next topics that we explore. Who do you choose? The impact the choice of a partner has on your future. I think it's going to be life-changing to understand some of these things, but I really want to get back really quickly to just talk briefly about, as you're going through all of this, why not file for bankruptcy?
So there's a lot of reasons why we didn't file for bankruptcy initially. We didn't file bankruptcy because we believed that we could get back on track, which we did the first time. We didn't want to file bankruptcy out of pride as well. Also, lack of business education. So I've been an entrepreneur. I've had a lot of experiences and never had an experience like this before. unbeknownst to me, the intelligent thing at that moment probably should have been to file bankruptcy in hindsight, but didn't do it. Decided to pay everything back, decided to take care of all of our employees, decided to, stay our ground as men. And we just went 10 toes to the ground, 10 toes grip, held it down and just can't continue moving forward. However, the second round of fraud, we realized, and we had gotten a lot of sound advice from multiple lawyers and multiple financial advisors. One in particular financial advisor, I won't mention him, but he owns an NBA team. And he spoke to us very candidly and was like, look, you guys need to file for bankruptcy. And the only reason why we did was because we didn't want to have creditors and clients coming after us personally.
Right.
Although we had a clean slate, we had taken care of everything. Anytime you've got turmoil, especially as a business, that's when some of the undesirable people come out and they try to take advantage of your situation.
Right.
And you might have never transacted with them at all, but they see or hear of an opportunity and then they make a fictitious statement. And everybody can have their day in court. Anybody can take you to court for anything, whether they know you or they don't. So we were like, we need to navigate through that. And so hence we had to file bankruptcy at that point.
So here's a question that I myself even struggle with. And I know we don't have much time, but just to kind of put this all together, right?
Yeah.
Knowing the person that you are, knowing the person I am, right? The not giving up, right? The pushing forward, the continuing to excel, to defy the odds no matter what. I will never give up. I will never recede. 10 toes down. I'm going to 10 fingers in.
Yep.
I'm going to pull, push, claw my way to where I need to get to. I've always been of that nature. When it comes to giving up, or conceding, would you in this case consider filing for bankruptcy a sort of contradiction to who you are as a person, or how would you reconcile that given the person you are?
Great question. For me, no, I'm definitely someone who never gives up, and I don't look at that as giving up. I look at that as a pivot. I believe that you have an opportunity to learn and then adjust and then continue forward. So I didn't stop being an entrepreneur.
Right.
I just had to adjust my business model and I had to understand this new environment that we were in that I wasn't prepared for. None of us were prepared for. CIO of Equifax got fired.
Right.
He took that company from $6 billion to $24 billion and he still got fired,
Right.
For the breach.
Right.
So it wasn't a matter of, did I give up? It was, okay, I need to go back in the lab, dust myself off, pick myself up. And there were moments of depression for sure.
Yeah.
It's like having your child ripped from you.
Right.
So there were definitely moments of depression that I had to overcome mentally. But this strong fortitude, mental fortitude that has been bestowed upon me from my mom, from my dad, certainly my mom, who rose from rags to riches. She's got an incredible story herself, going from the mailroom of Aetna Life Insurance to the CIO of MBIA as a Black woman, which is almost unheard of, and especially at that time. To see her, kind of pull herself up, I was like, there's no quitting me. I had an opportunity to go to Egypt, and I saw some of the incredible things that we were able to build. And I said, if we could build this, what can I do? What exists that would hinder me from being able to achieve anything that I want to achieve? And the only answer I could come up with is myself. The only one who stops me is me. So I decided, okay, we'll have a different business model. I learned so much about technology in that process. I learned so much about law. I had two options. You're going to go the legal route or you're going to go the tech route. And I decided to go the tech route. A lot of money in those hills, a lot of money in both hills, but I went that route. And it's been amazing. It's been an amazing journey so far.
You know what, man? Thank you so much for sharing. And, I know sometimes that these questions get a little bit uncomfortable because we're really trying to get to the deeper layers there. Yeah. So I appreciate you sharing this. Hearing the story, I'm challenged to think about sort of, how we categorize things. People say, I have wins and I have losses. And as I try to reframe this, I'm thinking it should be wins and lessons, right? The lessons that you extracted from that situation, that environment. You were able to, pivot and transform. And that is the key, people. You will have what people will see as apparent failures. The plans will never go the way that you plan or set them out to go sometimes. But guess what? As opposed to dwelling in that area of, dissatisfaction, of sadness, right? Understand that in that there is a lesson, and if that lesson is understood and learned, it can be pivoted to something that is better, greater, and higher. How do we get to that mindset? Go ahead, my guy.
Well, one thing for sure is that's transferable in any and everything that you come across. So that's all relationships. That's whether you have a relationship with your spouse,
right,
and you're going to have challenges. Your children, you're going to have challenges. Your business, you're going to have challenges. Becoming an IPB pro and competing against people, challenges, right? But the thing is that if you have the work ethic and you have an open mind and you're real with yourself in that moment, you might not be ready in that moment. It's like, okay, well, how do we get ready? And another thing is, once you commit, that's it. You have to go. The reason why you and I, and one thing that you and I share, which is very rare, is less than, the statistic is less than, I think, 0.5% or something like that. It's less than 1% of people who get into bodybuilding, they win their first show, they go to nationals, and then they win nationals and turn pro. To do it in 2 steps, you're the only guy besides myself I know who's done it. Everyone I know has taken multiple steps. And it's not to say that, oh, I can't be beaten. I've been beaten before on the pro scene and everything. And, fortunately, I've been able to walk away with a lot of checks also, so that's great. But I had a time frame that I put out forth, and I said, I have to achieve this in this time frame. And I understood the sacrifice that had to be made in order to get that and achieve that. Because every business I've ever had, anything that I've ever wanted, I had to sacrifice in order to get it. Without sacrifice, there's no achievement. My family had to sacrifice along with me, so they had to buy in. But one of the cool things is that they understand the type of person I am. And they said, you know what, if you go, I know you're going to achieve it. We believe in you. And I'm not saying that they didn't have doubtful moments. I'm sure they probably did, and gave me the all right, the college try, go after it. And they gave me the smile and everything. But I knew in myself, and I believe in myself, that I will achieve it. If I put my mind to something, again, there is no stopping. So prior to bodybuilding, I wanted to join this Muay Thai team, right? And again, I'm always into these interesting hobbies outside of the business, right? And I wanted to join this Muay Thai team called Bangkok Boxing. And they had incredible champions there. I couldn't even jump rope at the time. Like, I would literally start jump roping. I hit my toes and everything. I couldn't even jump rope around twice. And it was hilarious. But I was like, there's no way I'm going to give up.
You stayed with it.
I stayed with it.
Right.
I saw Anderson Silva in the UFC fight, and it looked beautiful, looked like poetry. And I was like, I want to do that. And sure enough, by the end of my career,
don't tell me you did something crazy. What'd you do?
I turned pro in Muay Thai. Of course, I made the team, turned pro, and had 4 fights, won all 4 fights. Fought in the cage, fought in the ring, and then took a hiatus for a year. Got a little gut, and that's what led me into bodybuilding.
You know what, man? I'm smiling here because most people will look at this and they're like, that's impossible, or that's an alien. I mean, bro, why are you even here? Like, you should be on Mars or some shit, because all of this is crazy, right? But this is when I say the everyday hero, the person who's right next door, the person who's sitting in the cubicle next door, the person who you're greeting at the register, the Starbucks girl, or the person at your favorite grocery store, right? Each and every one of us has a story. And if we dig and explore and peel back those layers, you'll be so blown away by what that person or what they went through, and the potential that you have to tap into that space, that, unlock that area in your brain that gives you the courage, the guts to push beyond, despite the challenges, the hurdles, the obstacles, and to achieve your goal and get to your objective. That is the goal, man. So here's what I'm going to ask you. Do you have any pearls that you'd like to share with our listeners, our viewers at this point regarding your entrepreneurial journey, right? As you navigated that, if you were to address someone right now, or better yet, if you were able to give your 14-year-old self advice right now on how to navigate the challenges that are to come, what would you tell him?
I would answer those a little bit differently. My 14-year-old self, I would say, stay on the journey that you're on, because you're gonna figure it out, and you have to go through hardships in order to find out who you are, or find out what you're made out of. So if you don't go through hardships, just like a diamond, if you don't go through the pressures, if you don't go through the challenges, if you don't go through, tons of dirt being put on top of you, and you have to figure it out of how you're going to survive, then you won't ever maximize the true you and realize who you really are to your fullest capacity. The other thing, what I would tell other people is fear. One thing I was able to learn early in life, and I was kind of an anomaly in this sense. When I was young, I understood that I had certain desires and I wanted to overcome those desires. For me, it was chocolate. So I bought a bunch of chocolate one day, ate all of it, burned it out of my system. I didn't have chocolate from the age of 12 until the age of 26 because I just burned it out of my system. I just didn't have a desire for it. I felt like it was going to own me and it was taking over me, and I didn't want anything to own me other than myself. So that's one thing I didn't. The other thing is fear. When I see fear, I go towards it. I don't go away from it. And if I see a challenge, I go towards that challenge, not away from the challenge, because I look at it as an opportunity to test myself. I've learned that most of the fear that we have in our minds, we overinflate the situation more than what it is. And once you wind up getting in it, you go, wait, this is not as difficult as I thought it was going to be. This is not as challenging as I thought it was going to be. It's not as fearful as I thought it was going to be. Whether it's a bully at school and you're young and you have to face that, which I've had to do before, or it's taking on a new business opportunity, or you have the attorney general coming after you because they think you've done something heinous and you're just a stand-up business person and you have to prove his... And the attorney general is no joke, let me just tell you. You have to go through these things and face them head on. And if you back away from it, you'll lose some of the opportunity and growth that you otherwise would have gained. And that is a transition into your next step and the next door that opens up for you. So personally speaking, don't fear. And then the second thing is, definitely have an open mind. Don't allow things to own you, own them. Don't allow vices to own you. Have control of yourself. And if you have that type of mental fortitude, it's difficult to beat someone like that. They can beat up on you, but to beat that person is very difficult. So that's what I would tell.
Mr. Alim Bolton, thank you very much, man.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure. Thank you.